Okay, this coming Sunday at A Place to Talk, we'll be talking about the dangerous work of peace. Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the peacemakers. This is Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. We're in the Beatitudes. We're working through our red letter series that's all about the words of Jesus. But this is a line from Jesus on in the Sermon on the Mount, where he says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God." They will be called children of God. A few years ago, I was in a conversation where both sides were convinced that God was on their side. But when I asked, what if peace was the side God was on, the room kind of went silent. Because deep down, we all want peace, but very few of us want to take the steps to make that peace. What does it really mean to make peace? I want you to take a few minutes and think about that. Maybe pause the video. Consider for a moment, for you, what does it mean to make peace? Okay, I'm going to go on. So if you didn't pause and think about it, you're going to miss the chance. Why does Jesus call peacemakers blessed? What is it about peacemakers that's blessed? What does being a child of God look like in a world that's so divided? I mean, we're divided between Palestine or the Palestinians and the Israeli people. We're divided between the Ukrainian people and the Russians. We're divided between the right and the left. We're divided between Republicans and Democrats. We're divided. We're just divided. So what does being a child of God look like in a world that's so divided? We're divided between Tar Heels and that other team down the road. We're divided between Android and Apple. We're divided in so many ways. What does it mean to be a child of God in a world divided? Especially when two different sides are at war. I mean, literally willing to destroy one another's reputation, willing to destroy their life, willing to take their life. I can't help but think about the division and the destruction and the words that have been said. What does it really mean to make peace? I want to think about it in two different ways. Here's two options, but I know you are going to give us more options, and we're going to talk about additional options. Sometimes the message of Jesus, we call it the message of the third way. There's always that third option or that third way. But here are two options about what it means to really make peace. One side, peace can be keeping the calm, avoiding arguments, staying polite, not rocking the boat. It's about keeping things smooth and staying light, just kind of passively making peace. But then there's another side of peace that says peace isn't passive. Rather, it's an active resistance to hate, to injustice, to revenge. Maybe making peace means confronting chaos, not avoiding it. Maybe it means, marching. Maybe it means taking up, banners and signs and screaming for peace and calling out people that are divisive. Maybe there's a third. Maybe there's an option C. Maybe it's not just about passively avoiding arguments and staying nice and only posting cat videos on social media. Maybe there's a third option that's somewhere between that passive piece and that active piece. But if there is, what's that third option? And which one of these three options will make a difference in the world? Which one of these looks most like the children of God? Are you willing to lose comfort in order to gain peace? That's kind of what we're asking there. Are you passive and that's where you're comfortable? Or are you active and that's where you're comfortable? And are you willing to not be comfortable to gain peace? I think I'm definitely the active kind of person in general. And sometimes it's very uncomfortable for me to shut my mouth. What about you? Are you willing to be uncomfortable to gain peace? Are you that passive person that's never willing to speak up? Are you willing to be uncomfortable and speak up if it means making a move towards peace? Why does Jesus call peacemakers blessed? I want us to look at two options again here. What are those two options? Well, because peace feels good, it creates happiness, reduces stress, and makes life easier. You might say, that's why Jesus calls peacemakers blessed, because they have peace, they have happiness, they've got reduced stress, and their lives are easier. Or is it B, because they do God's work in a violent world? They stand between the warmongers. They're the ones that walk out in front of the tank and say, if you're going to continue, you got to run over me first. To be blessed isn't being comfortable. It's to be aligned with the heart of God, even when it costs you something. Those are two very different options. Maybe you have a third. Maybe you see it in a third way. Again, I think that is often the Jesus way. It's that third idea, that unique idea that comes straight from the heart of God. And that's what we do at A Place to Talk. We throw out questions and we're asking God to speak to us through us. Anybody in the room can share. Anybody in the room can speak. And sometimes somebody might say something that we think is insane. And sometimes someone will say something and we will just kind of go, yes, that resounds. It sounds like the heart of God. It sounds like the words of a child of God. Okay, let's look at the third question. Would you rather be liked by people? Oh, wait a minute. I'm still thinking about that second question there. Would you rather be liked by people or blessed by God? Okay, let's look at the third question now. What does being a child of God look like in a divided world? Let's look at two options. One means means we belong to the family of God and that we're loved and forgiven. The other option is if God heals division, we can't fuel it. If God forgives enemies, we can't hold grudges. If God reconciles, then peacemaking isn't optional. It's our family business. It's what it means to be a child of God is we're destroying those guns. We're tearing up swords and we're making them into farming implements. It's turning swords into plowshares. It's actively fighting the enemies that are not people, but there's enemies are concepts and principalities and institutions. What does it look like to be a child of God in a world that's so divided? Maybe there's a third option. What would you say? How would you answer that question? But really that question's saying, if we claim to be children of God, do we act like our Father or do we just talk like Him? Okay, that's what we're going to be talking about this Sunday at A Place to Talk. This coming Sunday at A Place to Talk. Love for you to be there. Love for you to join us. In a world addicted to outrage, choosing to make, push, promote, and actively campaign for peace. It's not weakness. It's rebellion. And sometimes I think we need to rebel against the myths of society, and we stand up and we actively push towards peace. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called children of God.